Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Welcome back to our podcast. Today, we are talking about harnessing software to supercharge HR capacity. And we know how HR people love software. I think these days we have no choice. So welcome back. Hey, JC, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Wendy. It's a beautiful Monday morning out there in the world. It's a pleasure to be here, vertical, above ground, doing my thing, drinking some coffee, tea, or I don't know, different parts of the world. You might be having a cold, frosty beverage at this hour. Something to talk about coming up in a little bit. We'll see.
Absolutely. That brings us right to our international guest here, Andrew Swiler. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, Wendy. Thank you so much. Great to be here.
And where are you calling in from today?
So based on my accent, I am an American, but I live in Barcelona. So I'm calling in from Barcelona right now, where I've lived for about the past 10 years.
Now, hang on, though. That's Barcelona, Spain? Not
Barcelona,
Idaho.
Spain.
Okay. Right. Gotcha. I'm in Barcelona, Idaho. No, not the case. Yeah.
Well, we're a little bit jealous, although I am calling in from Florida. So it's also a vacation destination, but, also riddled with a lot of heat, humidity. Yeah. Humidity's insane right now, but we just got to suck it up and move forward. And then JC is calling in from Buffalo, New York.
Oh, Wendy, we're in the middle of a heat wave right now. I can't even begin to describe. I think it got up to like around 81 degrees today. It's really, really hot.
I hate you.
Canadian border. Yeah.
81 degrees. I would like that. Anyway, we will bypass that. Hey, we want to talk about, software to help HR people. HR people are swimming and have been swimming for a very long time in way too much work and not enough staff or not enough staff that are either educated in HR or able to use technology. So that's where you come in, Andrew, and help us. Let's talk about, the evolution of HR software. I remember when we were using spreadsheets or pen and paper, and now today we are in a totally different situation. Give me an idea of, if somebody came to you who was kind of tech savvy and said, hey, what's the best type of software that would immediately help eliminate all my my backups? Is it recruiting? Is it applicant tracking? Is it payroll? Is it reviews? What's the first piece of advice you would give them?
Well, the first thing is that you're saying back in the day, people were using spreadsheets and paper. And what we find is back in the day is today, because we still get inbound marketing leads almost all the time of companies that say like, yeah, we just kind of run this all off an Excel spreadsheet. We have one client that is a very large bank that was using a 4,000 person company, was running off an Excel spreadsheet almost all their HR processes up until 2016.
Oh my goodness.
It's not as back in the day as you would think.
Well, now I feel better about myself.
Yeah, there's a proliferation. There's a lot of money that's come into the HRMS space. Obviously, over the last few years, Workday, HiBob, Bamboo HR, companies like that have raised, billions of dollars. So HRMS all of a sudden is something that, everyone's talking about. But at the same time, there are a lot of companies that are still stuck on an Excel spreadsheet that they built when they had 50 people. And when they grew to 500, all of a sudden they bring in a real HR team. And the HR team says like, wait a second, what do we do with this? But the issue is rebuilding all those processes or starting from zero when the whole team or the whole company has been running off that Excel spreadsheet is a whole gigantic project of implementing, changing people's workflows. And it's usually one of the most difficult things that HR VPs or HR managers step into is the whole changing of the HR guard with the technology.
Well, tell our listeners today just a little bit about you and your role and how you got to be so savvy about technology and obviously empathetic of those 4,000 person companies or those 20 person companies that are still using pen and paper or maybe a Google sheet or Excel sheet.
Yeah. Well, I have a very circuitous route into HR. So I actually came from I was an entrepreneur for a long time. I actually started a company with my wife when we used to live in San Francisco. And when we sold our company several years ago, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do afterwards. And I decided I was going to get back into software. So I was in software a long time ago, about 10 years ago, decided I was going to get back into software, and we were going to acquire a company in the software industry. And so as we sort of were looking through different markets, different software opportunities, Lanteria, which is the company we ended up acquiring, kind of fell into my lap. The previous owners were two Ukrainian guys. And when the war broke out, Lanteria, we have large companies that are clients of ours, and the clients were very concerned about the continuity of the business. And these guys basically said, we need to find a buyer that could take this over and that our American clients are going to feel comfortable with, and that the continuity of the business and the continuity for the employees would continue. So like their big concern was our employees. We don't want our employees just all of a sudden lose a job because the Ukraine war started. So we acquired this business, and I started from zero, not knowing anything about HR. And basically what I did was every week I would have one call every day with one of our clients and learn why they use our system, what they use it for, what they would like to do. What are the other systems? What are the other technologies they're using? And basically just took a crash course from HR managers and VPs of HR around the US to sort of learn what is HR, how it works. Because I'm an entrepreneur, so I never had an HR person. Like I've never worked in a large company. So
Yeah.
I've these people would talk to me about things. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Walk me through from the beginning, because I've never worked in a company with more than 50 people in it. So
wow, that's amazing. You know what, though, Andrew? The funny thing is, I think a lot of HR people, that's how they learn HR. That's how I learned HR. Then I did go back and get a gazillion, another degree in licenses and certifications, all that stuff that I'll be paying off till I die. But, other than that, that is an amazing story. And I think a lot of our listeners are going to really resonate with this. Tell us real quickly, JC, I'm going to steal your thunder here for a second. I know we're running out of time out of our first session here, but the HR software market is worth over $14.8 billion in the US alone. And so how much has, in a nutshell, how much has technology, HR software changed just in the past couple of years, never mind the past couple of decades?
It's changed quite a bit. The weird thing about software and these big ERP type of softwares is it really is just, when you boil it down, it's an Excel and a database in a really nice wrapping and really nice user experience and UI. So sometimes when you see the interactions, you see the way people use these products, they're actually still using it like an Excel. It's just a way more secure way to store the data and to use it. But this went from being a market where, people were installing this on their server, their local servers 15 years ago, to all of a sudden when Salesforce became this big giant cloud computing monster, then that's when you started seeing Workdays coming in, you started seeing Bamboo HRs coming in, and it's completely changed the way, at least from my perspective of learning this over the last 18 months, how people are actually working and how HR teams are working. And sometimes I think people are worried about, and I know we'll talk about AI in a little bit later, but people are worried about, losing their jobs to technology. But I think a lot of times HRMS has built more jobs because there's so much more administration, so much more work that needs to be done, that it's taken away some of the really boring stuff, but it's also brought in more people to do more interesting things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, JC, adding more statistics for us?
Absolutely. Talking about interesting things. In 2023, the HR software sector is predicted to rise by 4.1%. Since 2013, the growth of HR software has been consistent, but 2023 appears to be the year to beat. The market will grow approximately $600 million moving forward, just in the rest of the year alone.
That's a lot of money.
And real quick, Wendy, for you, a little bit of a flashback as well, Andrew. Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. That song spent 2 weeks, non-consecutive, at the top of the Billboard charts in 2016. A little bit of the Wayback Train for you. Way back in the day.
You are hilarious. that had absolutely nothing to do with our conversation. But you know what? I think our HR people really do need a chuckle when we're going through our very stressful day. And on top of that, going back to our topic, this is where the solving people's stress or relieving some of it is where technology can help us. With that said, we're going to wrap up session 1 of 5 of our 5-part series today of harnessing HR software to supercharge the HR capacity. Next, we're going to talk about, and you kind of already started talking about it a little bit, Andrew, is just the role of software in taking over HR processes and really streamlining so we could save money and our sanity. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.